Okay.
Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1,
Check,
2.
check.
La la la
Okay,
la.
Here we go.
La 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 la.
We're good.
La la la. There we go.
All right, friends, welcome to the Forum. We're here in downtown Halifax, getting ready for the Dalhousie Tigers and the St. Francis Xavier X-Men. This is AUS men's hockey featuring your Dalhousie Tigers. Tonight, the Tigers playing host to the X-Men. The Tigers coming off a very tough one-goal loss to St. Mary's. The X-Men coming in playing their best hockey of the season. Bill McLean joined by Steve Betts. And Steve, the Tigers did everything right on Wednesday night. Couldn't beat the Huskies. How does a team respond after something like that?
Well, even though you lose a game like that, you've played well. You've done all the right things that coach asked you to do. So it's a break here and there. A 4-3 game isn't an 8-0 game. So you just got to work a little bit harder. Do some of the small things that make the difference in winning the hockey game, and always hope for a couple of breaks here and there. So really not a whole lot to change from Coach O'Donnell. I think everything's going to go as planned tonight. We'll see if that actually comes up as a win or as a loss, but there's really not a whole lot to worry about when you lose 4-3. And St. Mary's, by the way, was a lot better than they are than what their record shows.
X-Men come in playing their best hockey of the year. Feeling is if they put together a good weekend, they could be nationally ranked next week.
Well, no reason why they shouldn't be. They're led by Jason Bass, of course, and Kuzner and McClellan. I mean, these guys are vets. They know what they're doing out there on the ice. They're well coached. This is a team that very well could be harmful going into the playoffs.
Tigers, X-Men on AUS TV, but first we pause for O Canada. All right, here we go. The Tigers and the X-Men. X-Men come in here 9-7. Again, last week they had the most stunning game of the week, beating the UNB Varsity Reds 7-2. Not many times you lay down a beating like that on the champs.
Well, we were watching the ticker, well, our ticker's Twitter, but we were watching the Twitter feed, and the game just kept getting more and more out of hand. It was 6-0 at one point, went to 6-1. But UNB, of course, one of the top teams in the country, having a very off night. That was the weekend where there were snowstorms and delayed games and such. So, but you can't use that as an excuse. They were just unprepared for that game. UNB was. The X-Men on the flip side of that, you know what? Snow can energize people. That type of weather is fun to be in, and Antigonish is a very blue-collar town, and I can tell you right now, the arena was probably packed, and that energy translated into a huge victory, and that just shows a little bit of a weak side to UNB, so that gave a ton of confidence to this X team.
Tigers in the black, X-Men in the white. As we get started, there's Brett Plouffe. 1 goal and 8 assists this year for Brett, and our first look at Mashmeyer, a new player for the X-Men. There's Ravak. I didn't get a chance. We were trying to get the webcast going. I didn't get a chance to talk to StFX people for pronunciations. So, Betsy, I'm not sure if you've done the X-Men before, but just
absolutely.
looking at Ravak. Is that how you say that young man's name out there in the starting lineup?
Yeah, we go with Gerbavac.
Gerbavac.
Yeah, Gerbavac.
That sounds like kind of a Gerbavac slamming into the boards, and of course, Tigers fans of all sports holding their breath when they see that. Andrea Lyon of the Tigers women's team is okay. Last night, she went hard on the boards on AUS TV against the Huskies. They had to call the ambulance for her. A 30-minute delay, but for all you Tigers fans who watch all the sports, Andrea is okay. Bruised lower back, and that's huge news for everybody. You always hate to see those accidents around the end boards.
Well, we've seen that here. Lucas Bletoff knocked Panther into the boards pretty hard. I mean, it wasn't an intentional thing, but it happens. But thank the Lord that she's okay and healthy.
There's Slaney's first touch. 16 points this year for the newcomer from Portugal Cove, Newfoundland. X-Men, again, in their traveling white and blue. Our first look here at Gabriel O'Connor, a big defenseman for StFX. Puck on the near side boards. A scrum for it. Stay with us. There's Kirkpatrick, one of the leading scorers on StFX this year, brought down by Matt English. Stay with us all night long. TigersWebcast@gmail.com, and your Twitter information on the screen at B McLean Sports, at Betsy. We will talk AUS hockey all night long with you during the intermissions and interviews coming up, all that great stuff. 4 games on the night, so hope to talk to you all night long on AUS Hockey Night here. Friday night in Halifax, Tigers and X-Men. Jason Bast, he's been outstanding for StFX, 16 points this year. Stevens, the pass across the ice, no luck, and taken away there by Fabian Walsh. Good flow in the early going. Walsh near side for Ivanko, goes wide and dumps it in. He'll change. Chris Ivanko, the leading scorer for the Tigers this year, having an outstanding season.
Well, Ivanko's one of those guys, when he gets involved, he gets better. And as the game gets on, he gets better. And, of course, he was heavily involved in their last game, their 4-3 loss to St. Mary's. But Ivanko is one of those players that he can use his speed, and he's not a small guy either. I mean, he's a wide body. When you see him outside and you see him without his hockey gear on, he's a big boy. There's no doubt about it. And he uses that to his advantage.
We just saw McAvoy, the fifth-year senior for StFX, now having an outstanding year. 6'3" is McAvoy. In front, and Bobby Nadeau makes his first 2 big saves of the game. Back to McAvoy. We were just talking about him. That long reach at 6'3", tipped just wide in there by the X-Men, and Medill comes away with it to Kendall McInnes. Brought down by McAvoy again. Finally, Andrew Wigginton will dump and change. Wigginton was outstanding against the Huskies, and he's the first one on it in the X-Men zone. Brett Plouffe, the longtime Tiger, over the net and on the far side. Medill couldn't get it to McConnell and dumped all the way out for Bobby Nadeau.
So a fast pace to the start to this game, Bill. One thing that I've noticed that you don't normally see from this Dalhousie Tigers team is they're very, very physical tonight, but not so much that they're trying to run guys into the board and hurt them. They're finishing their checks, and that all that does is wear guys down to let you know that you don't have as much time and that you're going to get hit as well. So that might rush a defender.
A goal for the Tigers. The Tigers strike first, so once again, we could be seeing the Tigers during a good stretch. They put together a nice stretch of the games in the first term, and now, once again, it is Pat Daly. And how huge. We've been seeing Pat Daly for years. Tigers desperately need him to score.
Well, in mid-sentence, me talking about why the Dalhousie Tigers are finishing their checks, that's exactly what happened. Pat Daly's in front of the net. The defenseman, knowing full well that he's got to make a quick play, puts the puck right on Pat Daly's stick. An unassisted goal for Pat Daly. He just buried a 5-hole on Clark down there, Morgan Clark. And that's exactly what the Dalhousie Tigers are doing to this StFX team. They're making them rush to play and making them rush to pass, and it worked great for Pat Daly.
Clark is the backup goaltender tonight. Coach Brad Peddle trying to get him a start against the last-place Tigers. His goals against average 3.98 this year for Clark. And letting a goal in here early, 15:23 left, but certainly, I'm sure the X-Men were watching the game on Wednesday. This is a Tigers team that has a lot of bodies back. The last time we had the Tigers in the first term, they were going with 14 skaters out there. At the very least, this Tigers team rebuilding, but they got 20 guys out there.
Well, 20 guys on the ice, 19 now because McCaskill's going to the box for slashing at the blue line, knocked the stick right out of the X-Men's hands. But the other thing, too, you got to think about, too, Bill, is there's only 23 skaters allowed on your roster in this season. It's a new rule in the league, and Mike Barkhouse and I talk about it extensively because it's going to have an effect near the end of the season. But for this Dalhousie Tigers team, they're relatively healthy now. Moshmeyer puts a nice hit on the charging forward, but it's going to affect some teams deeper than others because depth is a huge part of getting through a season in a 28-game season, because a guy might go down with a regular injury or a normal injury and he could be gone for a quarter of the season. So 23 is not a lot in a skating roster.
A lot of high scores out there, including Hines and Slaney, Moshmeyer, Kirkpatrick, and Bast for StFX. Hello out there to all you friends in Antigonish. Glad you're with us. Or you X-faithful, always have a lot of X-Men fans joining us, so make sure you reach out to us again. tigerswebcast@gmail.com, and on the Twitter, information right there on your screen. Struthers, Stevens out there now with McAvoy on the power play on Josh Day. With X-Men, they've had some turnover, but they get some guys, Betsy, we've been calling for a long time. McAvoy, Day, Bast, Brendan Ray. A lot of veteran leadership on this team.
Well, Bass is only in his second year, I believe. He was rookie last year, but you're absolutely right. I mean, Bass gets a lot of ice time, so that's why we call his name a lot. But this defensive core is huge for the X-Men, and they're actually big boys. Like, when I say huge, I mean they literally are a large defensive core. But those are the two guys right there, Day and McAvoy, that are the leaders on this team, and that's why they get all the ice time. Very solid defenders, no doubt about that.
Bobby Nadeau has made 5 big saves now, robbing Day in close, and then another X-Men hacking away in front. That was Blake Gal. But Nadeau holds on.
Well, fun fact here tonight, Bill Bradpedo in his 9th season as the X-Men coach. They obviously like their American goaltenders. Perricone, of course, a standout for the X-Men, and in his final year showing that goaltending can win a series in the playoffs. We also have a Dallas, Texas goaltender in Clark for StFX. So Coach Peddle using his octopus arms to get into that American funnel of players.
That's going to get outside the line. Moshmeyer now with it in the neutral zone on the far side for Hines. He's speedy across the neutral zone. From Norris Point, Newfoundland, he played for the Greenville Road Warriors, did Brandon Hines in the East Coast Hockey League. And now playing for this X-Men team. And this is a pattern we've seen in the AUS. Guys playing East Coast hockey and then coming here to play AUS. And more CIS hockey becoming slowly but surely a building step towards maybe the NHL. We've seen 3 or 4 guys get signed pro contracts now.
Well, we've seen Stephen McCauley return to the St. Mary's team, or not return, but come in the second half of the season to the SMU Huskies. And McCauley, of course, in that Hamilton Bulldogs / Montreal Canadiens farm system. So McCauley, a well-rounded player, plays both ends of the ice very well. And he got his first goal the other night, assisted on a couple, but he got his first goal the other night playing for the Huskies. So he's a great example of guys making an effort at it and just not working out for them, and then making the right decision to get an education as well as come back to the best conference in this university circuit.
13 minutes left in your first period. X-Men trying to respond. Back to 5-on-5 now. So the Tigers have a penalty kill. There's Plouffe to Cote. A little bit too far for Walsh, and Brendan Ray about to get it for StFX in behind Morgan Clark. Cote has it off the pass from Ray. McInnes behind the net, can't get to it. And here comes StFX across the blue line. McQueen out in front. Can't get it past McCaskill, the assistant captain this year for the Tigers. McInnes looked like he took a stick to the face, but he's okay. McAvoy can control, and maybe 3-on-1 for the Tigers. A tough first pass. Walsh can't quite get there. And on the far side, Gabriel O'Connor takes over to Kuhn. Hot pass to the near side, a little bit behind McQueen. And Bobby Nadeau, once again, on the near side.
Well,
Francois Gauthier, our first look at Francois. Again, another one of these long-time Tigers. Go ahead, Betsy.
Yeah, no, sorry. Nadeau and Kuhn came together, or McQueen, excuse me, and I'm not really sure what McQueen was thinking because goalies are basically off limits. He's complaining that Bobby Nadeau got his hands up in his face, but rightfully so. McQueen did not let up at all and just went right into Bobby Nadeau at full speed, so I can't really blame Nadeau for putting his gloves up to try and protect himself. Because you never know. I mean, when a guy's coming at you that hard, what he's going to do. But McQueen went full speed into Bobby Nadeau, and he's going to pay for it with a 2-minute penalty.
So McQueen from Woodstock, Ontario, in his second year. He's off of the penalty box. Wigginton out here with P.A. Vondell. McConnell, Pat Daly, the goal scorer, and McCaskill, the front 5 for the Tigers. And good to have P.A. Vondell back in the lineup, Betsy, and they think after his experience in Italy with the World Universiade team, he might get going.
Well, of course, Vondell winning the gold medal with the team that went to Italy. And Vondell is a leader offensively for this Dal Tigers team, and he's a guy that's hot and cold. He's had a couple of injuries in the last couple of seasons. So needless to say, coach needs to get him going, and it seems to me he's kind of hit his pace. You know, it really depends too sometimes on the guys that you have around you, and coach has obviously found a couple of guys. Coach Donnelly has found a couple of guys that are able to work with him and get him some points, but he can certainly put a lot of points on the board when he's flying.
There's McCaskill, the former Bearcat, former Halifax Moosehead, becoming a veteran leader for this youthful Tigers team, now in his third year. Far side for Wigginton. Dancing through the X-Men zone, takes a hit over there from Charlotte. Pat Daly. Wigginton. Back to Pat Daly on the far side. 1:27 left here in this opening period. Near side for P.A. Vondell. Can't get the pass through. Hacking away at it on the doorstep was McConnell. And Jason Bass will come away. Trying to break out 2-on-1. But no luck hooking up there with Murdoch McClellan, a longtime StFX player. StFX, we've been doing this ever since the good old days at the DMA, Betsy. And StFX has some guys who just seem like they've been around for 10 years. McAvoy and McClellan.
Yeah, I was talking about Day and McAvoy being on the point, and you know, Bass is kind of a newcomer, and Cuzner, of course, played in the Mooseheads and that sort of thing. But you're right; they seem like it's been 4 or 5, 6 years almost. Of course, you can play 5 years, but it's good to see, and it's good for the X program because obviously they're getting guys and they're keeping guys, and they're able to get them into the system and attract them and engage them. And it's working, and it's worked for those two very important players.
10:35 left in your opening period. 24 seconds left on this power play. There's Medill, the big kid from Red Deer. Hello out there to you guys in Red Deer. Usually checking with us on the Twitter. Far side. There's Taberge. How happy are the Tigers to have Taberge back in the lineup? Medill, a kick save by Morgan Clark. McAvoy pins Taberge to the boards, and that allows Josh Day to haul it out here for StFX. Day and Kuhn 2-on-2. Nadeau, kick save to Burge behind the net for Medill. As we approach the midway point of this first period, speedy Andrew Langdon along the near side boards. Gets rubbed out by McAvoy. About 8 inches of height difference there between McAvoy and Langdon. Misfiring on the pass was Reeder. Matt English. Walsh. Or Langdon, dumps it in. Vondell on the chase along with Reeder. Moschmeyer, first one back there, and there's Kirkpatrick. Kirkpatrick battling with the captain Vondell, and here comes Rob Slaney. He's from Portugal Cove, Newfoundland. Played for the Hamilton Bulldogs of the American Hockey League.
Yeah, that's exactly where Steve McCauley came from as well. So Hamilton, of course, is the affiliate with the Montreal Canadiens. But Slaney, we all know that name because John Slaney, of course, with the World Juniors years and years and years ago, scores that game-winning goal from the point. I believe it was World Juniors. It might have been Team Canada, but I'm pretty sure it was the World Juniors. So Slaney, a name that is very familiar in Newfoundland.
Great pace in this one here. Midway through the first. 4 games tonight in the AUS. We'll keep you updated on the scores. 2-on-1 comes past, and Gow, and a goal. You can see that coming. 2-on-1, and Jason Bast, who has just been outstanding this year for StFX, he gets his 17th point. And Gal hammers it home.
Well, Brett Plouffe pinched up, and when you pinch, you got to take a man out of the play. Not that Plouffe's man got involved in the play, but nonetheless, if you're going to pinch, you got to take the puck, you got to take the man. Plouffe didn't do either. He missed the puck, he missed the whole shebang. So that could have easily been a 3-on-1 as Slaney was sneaking in as the third guy high, but Gal obviously finishes it off with a nice 1-2 pass and ties it all up. But it all starts when you get outnumbered, and that's exactly what happened there, and the X-Men executed it to perfection.
1-1 right now in Fredericton as well. St. Thomas and Moncton going at it there. The Tommies with renewed playoff hopes. Here in Halifax, 1-1 between the Tigers and the X-Men. Daly for the Tigers, Gal for StFX. No luck on clearing out for the Tigers. That goes off of Hines. Stevens in the far side corner. He's a first-year, from Whitehorse, former Moncton Wildcat is Stevens. So hello out to you guys watching in the Yukon. Speedy comes Hines through the neutral zone, across the red line. Gets it back. Quick passing play, but a good job there by Tigers defenders.
We'll talk about passing. The X-Men are on point tonight. They're touch passing. They're putting it between defenders' legs. They're banking it off boards. They're putting it right on the tape. And that's all about puck control.
Off the inside of the post for Stevens on the ricochet. And then it goes into the StFX bench. So Stevens just missing that chance. Tigers are developing a reputation. I mean, it's obviously this is a Tigers team that's going to be on the outside looking in this year. Rebuilding, reloading. But they're developing a reputation that when you come to the Forum, you better show up or you're not going to leave with 2 points.
Well, despite the Tigers' record, they're actually a very challenging team. I mean, they've got some players that can really control the game. And if those players are going, like your Vandells, McCaskill, Wigington, those are 3 guys right there that can change the outcome for the Tigers. But collectively, yes, this is a tough team to play here at the Forum. Coach Donnelly has put in some new systems, some new work ethics, and it seems to be working for them. The players are responding, and that's all you can ask for. And you get it. He has a good base to build this program up. They're back to health. So, yeah, let's just say the ship's pointed in the right direction for the Tigers.
Of course, for those of us joining us, this is who have been with us all year long. Maybe you're new to the Tigers family. Me and Betsy did Tigers games together for about 3 years. So all you longtime Tigers fans remember me and Betsy. But, you know, we got used to doing some games, Betsy, whether it was because of academics or just the time of the year, where you see the Tigers mail it in once in a while. This Tigers team, like you said, under Chris Donnelly, every time they show up, they come hard to play.
Well, Donnelly's, you know, from what I know, I don't know Chris personally, but I've talked to a few of the players, and I talked to, you know, some of the women's players and just people around the AUS, and they all know Chris Donnelly. He's a player's coach. The players respect him, and that's really what that means. If you don't know what player's coach means, that's what it means. They respect him because he's been in the trenches, he gets it, he understands what they're going through on a daily basis. So what that means is they'll react to him. If he asks them to do something, they believe in him. You know, they listen to what he says, and they'll do the best they can to achieve whatever it is he's asked them to do. So that's what Coach Donnelly brings. And when you respect somebody, you'll pretty much jump off a bridge for them. And Coach Donnelly has some very good systems, some very good, you know, he's working some players. Like he puts Vandell on the power play, you know. We haven't seen that from Tigers. We didn't see that from the previous coaches. Donnelly was a part of that, but he wasn't the head coach. So it's looking good for this Dallas Tigers team because there's some fresh ideas, there's some fresh energy.
O'Connor, a shot that goes just wide. Brad McConnell, a chance to clear. Near side for Pat Daly. Daly, McConnell, and Wigington. They were really good the other night trying to stay on track. Daly already has a goal. McCaskill, a shot stopped by Morgan Clark. And another odd man rush for StFX with Kuhn. And Struthers had himself a goal, but couldn't hold on to the pass. Went under his stick. The old Canadian analogy, keep your stick on the ice. That one went under Struthers, and he would have had himself a goal had he taken it cleanly.
Well, McCaskill, again, moved up into the play. You got to pick your times when you're a defenseman. If you're going to be offensive, you got 100% it, as I like to say. McCaskill didn't do that. He got caught in. The play surpassed him, went by him. Another odd man rush for the X-Men.
Puck to the neutral zone, taken up here by Josh Day, the longtime X-Men, the captain this year. Fifth-year senior from St. John's. Kirkpatrick on the near side. Great diving stop by Fabian Walsh over there. Or McCaskill, sorry. McInnes, that gets past Day. And on the chase is Alex Cote, the former Moosehead. Here's McAvoy. McAvoy from St. Albert, Alberta in his 5th year. That pass splits a pair of X-Men into the near side corner. On the chase is Slaney. McInnes comes away with it, and he has space to clear. Pass a little bit behind Cote, but he's got it. Walsh, and we got a penalty coming up on StFX.
Yeah, we're going to see Slaney go for a high stick. As he collided with the Tiger down in the corner, his stick came up and clipped him right across the face. Legitimate high stick, so Slaney's going to go uncontested to the penalty box. So another power play for the Tigers. That first power play, though, let's talk a little bit about that. No aggression at all by the Tigers. They gained the zone. It was a very sloppy entry into the zone. They didn't support one another, and that's what power plays are all about. You got to have 2 men on the puck at all times. One controlling the puck, or at least trying to, and the second one, adding support in any way they can. So they're going to have to pick up support on this, and they're going to have to, tape to tape those passes like StFX has been doing in order to control and try and get some sort of attack.
Just over 4 minutes left in your first period. 2 minutes here on this power play for Brett DeBerge and the Tigers, out there with his longtime teammate Gauthier. Ivanko, the leading scorer for the Tigers on this power play as well. Here's Luke Medill. Behind the net on the far side for DeBerge. Plouffe, the other defender. And that splits Plouffe and Medill. Bobby, right on. And a nice pass up here for Ivanko. X-Men trying to make a change, and Ivanko leading scorer. But, man, the Tigers really has something brewing there. Maybe might have got a better shot off that chance.
Well, Clark, being the backup and all, you're really not going to beat an AUS goaltender from that far out. That was a nice shot by Ivanko, but really take advantage. They suffered on their first power play. Take advantage of the odd man rush that you have there. Maybe run a delay. Gain the zone, get control. So far, let's give some credit to this X-Men team. They are skating right at the dark jerseys, getting right in their face and making them make a play. And that's exactly why this penalty kill is working for the X-Men.
3:35 left in the period. 1 minute for the Tigers on the power play. That's over the glass as we say hello. Our first tweet. This is Megan from Red Deer, one of our new favorites, one of the new members of the Tigers family, the Medills from Red Deer, cheering on their favorite redhead, Big Luke, number 25 of the Tigers out there on defense. Great to have the Medills with us tonight in Red Deer. B. McLean Sports on Twitter, at Betsy on Twitter, TigersWebcast at gmail.com. Bill McLean here with the voice of the enemy, the St. Mary's Huskies, the play-by-play voice of the Huskies, Steve Betts. Great to have you Great to have you in the box again, my friend.
Yeah, it's been a while. We've only done a couple of games over the last year or two, so you and I obviously do some football in the fall, but hockey, we're separate. We're friendly enemies. Frenemies, maybe we can call it. Well, but no, the whole goal is to bring the AUS to you guys at home, so we're glad to do it.
I filled in for Steve on Wednesday night on Huskies TV with Mike Barkhouse. And Mike was very happy to have me. I don't know why he was so happy to have me. It was like he was relieved.
Well,
I don't know what. He's usually with you, but
he did a solo, didn't he? Previously
he did it by himself. Previously,
yeah. So maybe he's a little nervous.
Yeah.
You know, he likes that friend. Mike's a good guy. He knows his local junior hockey. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know anybody else that knows more, other than the actual people in the league. He probably knows more than they do, actually, about everybody else.
Shot right on there by Wigginton, a former Junior A player here. Andrew Wigginton, we were talking about him. You know, he's just such a great teammate for years. You know, the Marauders, the Shipbuilders, the Lions, the Tigers, the Mooseheads, back and forth with the Mooseheads there for a while. No matter what situations he's in, he just keeps playing and improving each year.
Well, he has skills. There's no doubt about that. He's got a good shot when he gets it off. He's a little slow getting it off, but when he does, it's very accurate. And the thing that he does well, and there's unfortunate for McCaskill's stick explodes, but what Wigginton does is he uses his size. He's a bit of a gentle giant out there. I'd like to see him be more aggressive. But he uses his size to protect the puck and create plays.
10 seconds on this Tigers power play. 2.5 left in the period. Here comes P.A. Vondell for McConnell. McConnell on the near side. Ivanko, a shot that was low and lazy, and an easy stop there for Morgan Clark. 2-on-2 comes StFX. Hot pass to Slaney. Slaney, pretty move. And a gorgeous goal for Slaney. Heads up, one of the goals of the year. Absolutely pretty.
Wow, will Slaney get it off the boards? Or excuse me, he was calling for it off the boards, and he actually got a crisp, hot pass right over the Tigers emblem, right at the blue line in full stride, and he made two awesome moves on the defender and undressed the defender. He made a great shot coming across in front of Bobby Nadeau. But wow, you're right, Bill. That's probably one of the prettiest goals, if not the prettiest goal that I have seen this year. As Slaney put it between his legs off his own skate and then put it between the legs of the defender. That's a high skill right there from Slaney. And of course, Slaney being from Newfoundland, he's probably played a lot of pond hockey, and he's used to pucks and such bouncing around, so he was able to control that puck when it got down into his feet and got in down to the feet of the defender. What a beautiful play by Slaney.
All right, so 2-1 now for StFX. DeBerge can't get that shot through. Hammering away at it is Fabian Walsh. 1:40 left in your first period. Man, oh man, what a move by Slaney. You can see why he was on the cusp of the NHL. That was pretty. Fabian Walsh, the little speedster on the far side, goes high, and another save by Morgan Clark. Another broken stick on the ice. There's Bass on the far side. He's a former AUS all-rookie performer. Bast, Hines, drops it. Stevens, gorgeous goal again. StFX with 2 beauties in a minute. The first one, brilliant individual. This one, tic-tac-toe.
And I'm going to have to say that that's his first goal of the season as they're giving that puck to the StFX bench. Wow, what a goal that was. And again, I mentioned it earlier on, this StFX team tonight is putting on a showcase as far as passing goes. They are just touching that puck to one another, and it's going right on the blade of the stick. And you know what? It's hitting guys that are ready for the puck. They're ready to give the puck back to the person that just gave it to them. A lot of give and goes, but they're ready for the puck, and they have their heads up, and they know what they want to do. They're giving it to the guys in open ice. This has been a pretty good showcase here in this first period by this X-Men team.
Man, Tigers scored first, but since then, StFX 3 in a row. And
Bill, I got to tell you, that's exactly what X has to do to get to the top of the heap in this AUS. There's no doubt in my mind. Listen, Dal is no slouch. Dal isn't one of the better teams defensively. When they get discombobulated, when they get out of sync, this Dal Tigers team can really have some troubles in their own zone. But that right there, I'm telling you right now, there's not a team in the league that could have defended that, because they were touch passing that puck in a very tight zone as well. But each pass was perfect and a nice shot.
we should have Joe Johnson coming up here. Joe, of course, one of the assistant coaches. He's the goaltender coach for the Tigers. Joe said he was going to come up for the rest of the year. Remember, we used to have Scott come up and join us at the first period of the DMA. So Joe Johnston hopefully will be coming up. So stick around for that. Joe Johnston coming up to talk about the Tigers over the last couple of games. And then, of course, me and Steve Betts with you throughout most intermissions, just talking AUS hockey.
Joe Johnson sounds like a boxer.
Or, of course, the great member of the Eagles. You remember, wasn't Joe Johnson? Or Joe Jackson was the Eagles. Yeah, dummy. Yeah.
It's all right. You're a sports guy, not a music guy.
Man, I totally failed right there. 7:30 here in Halifax on a beautiful night in the city. 20 seconds left here in the middle of town. The old barn off of Windsor Street. McCaskill. That's shot right on by the former Moosehead and held on to by Morgan Clark from Dallas, Texas.
Well, I can see why Clark is having a little problems this year stopping the puck. He's a bit of a mobile goaltender, and not necessarily in a good way. Don't get me wrong, he's a good goaltender. But sometimes his body is, I'll say, flailing around a little bit, and he could probably play a little bit more positional. And sometimes that's just a sign of a young goaltender that's not being patient enough. You got to let the play happen. I know as a goaltender, the whole point is just to get in front of the puck, and who cares how you do it. But you know what? Sometimes you have to be prepared for your next move, and you have to keep your body in control. And that's something I've just noticed watching Clark tonight. The odd save here and there. He's been sliding, or he's been doing something a little bit unorthodox as compared to the other goaltenders. But obviously he's here for a reason, and so far he's doing a good job for this X-Men team.
All right, so we're on the Twitter, B. McLean Sports on Twitter, and Betsy as well on Twitter. All that information right on your screen there. Reach out to us, and you can also reach us at tigerswebcast@gmail.com, tigerswebcast@gmail.com to reach out and chat. Joe Johnston, hopefully coming up here, the goaltenders coach for the Tigers. As we watch the referees leave the ice, but, well, it was a good start for the Tigers, and really not a lot of separation. The Tigers had good pressure, but man, oh man, it just, what can you do when a team has a couple highlight plays?
It's not about hustle. It's not about breaks. It's not about penalties. It's about StFX just playing really good hockey right now. There's some of the passing that they've made has been incredible, and Slaney's goal was, you know, a completely dynamic individual effort. So it's really not about the Dallas Tigers at this point. It's about the X-Men and how well they're playing. So the X-Men just took that away from the Tigers. Tigers just got to come out. But here's the thing. If guys are going to be passing, and they're going to be doing that, and obviously seeing the chemistry tonight for the X-Men, you got to start being a little bit more responsible for your assignments. You got to play your position a little bit tighter. You got to get your feet moving. You got to get sticks into passing lanes. You've got to do anything you can to play tighter defense. So if that means checking guys a little bit closer, then do it. Stop watching the puck and start watching the play.
Tigers team that comes in here. Maybe, I mean, it's how frustrating it can be when you probably played the best game of the year. You know, when they beat the Huskies for their one win, the Huskies kind of came in lackadaisical, didn't start playing until really the third period. Tigers took advantage, won that game. In this past week's game over the Huskies, the Huskies came in hell-bent on trying to blow out the Tigers. Like, they were really fired up, almost too fired up for you Tigers fans who were with me. We kept talking about how the Huskies were just so tense, like just trying maybe too hard. And the Tigers dominated that game. I mean, they were all over the Huskies for easily a period and a half, but you don't come away with a win. Hard.
I got one word for you, and this is why the Huskies were the way they were in that game. Steinberg. If you've been watching the media, Steinberg is here. He's back. He took a leave of absence. That's done and over with. Now Trevor Steinberg is back. He has been saying there needs to be some changes in Husky land. Something has to give. Something's going to blow up. So what I'm thinking is Coach went and said, guys, we're much better than this. We have to pick up our game at all levels. That includes hustle. That includes passing. That includes power play. That includes goaltending. With the talent that he has on that team and with the work ethic that we know what Steiny can bring to a team, they are a very dangerous team. Right now, their record doesn't show it, but that St. Mary's Huskies team could go far in this campaign. So that's really why and what happened on Wednesday night. The Huskies came out. It's a bit of a new beginning for them. They're not used to that. I'm not saying Coach Nogler didn't try and get them to do that, but Steinberg's a different guy. He's a special coach. He's a special guy, and he's proven that. So when Coach Steinberg tells you to hustle, you're going to go out there and try and impress him and impress your teammates as much as you can. So that's probably what has happened in the Huskies camp. That's my guess. What are you on the Twitter and the Facebook?
I'll look on the Twitter. Yeah, I'm on the social media.
Okay.
With that point, remember we had that Jason Bass goal, the third one that was such a dandy. They threw the puck to the bench. That was Jason Bass' 100th AUS career regular season point.
Bass that got it. Okay.
Yeah. So that's great stuff there. The AUS.
Unsure as to who it was that got the goal.
Yeah, the AUS sending us that. Thank you very much to our friends at the AUS. So congratulations to Jason Bast and all you StFX fans. His 100th AUS career regular season point. I mean, that's just not easy. You just don't do that in this conference. On a regular, you don't come to the AUS and score 100 points.
No, Bass is a very dynamic player.
Yeah.
He uses his speed. He's not the biggest guy, so he's got to figure out something. And that's what small guys do. They go fast. But he has hands, and he can hit. We've seen him later a couple of defenders for this Tigers team tonight already. So Jason Bass is a special player. There's no doubt about it. And he's one of those guys that down the road could end up playing someplace special. We've seen Ben Bro, a former Dal Tiger, now playing in France. There's a lot of similarities between Bast and Ben Bro. Pretty much the same size and stature, both very offensive, both very aware of their surroundings. When they're out there, they're being very creative. You know, they put pucks between legs. They both take shots from odd angles, trying to catch the goal. They get the game of hockey, and that's what Jason Bast is. He's a guy that knows a lot of things about hockey. He's got good skill. And if you want to go down a checklist of different categories, he scores very high in all those categories as a hockey player.
Brian Bast, hello out there. So congratulations to Brian from Saskatchewan checking in, retweeting that. Of course, Jason from Regina, the former Moose Jaw Warrior. Looks like we're not going to get Joe Johnson.
Is that just coffee that we have in there for you? It's got you black. put any sugar in it, so it should be all right.
You know what I'm like for Tigers games. Tigers men's hockey. That's been my That's been my staple for 5 years now. No matter what I do at Tigers men's hockey, I'm always here, and especially alongside my old broadcast partner. I got some energy tonight.
And Bass in his 4th year. Wow. See, we were talking about. We used to do it back in the day when the DMA was here. This is the 2nd season that the Tigers not being in the DMA. Bass, to me, seems like it's his 2nd year, or his 3rd year. He's in his 4th year. So 100 points, you do the math. That's a lot of production. That is a lot of production. The kid's an all-star in my mind.
StFX, again, talking about on Wednesday with Mike Barkhouse and now with you. Just the way that only 2 AUS teams in the top 10. We're used to having 3 or 4. I have a feeling if StFX holds on here, puts up another good performance against Acadia, maybe just hangs in tough with Acadia. Obviously, Acadia, the first place team. I think StFX might get into that top 10 ranking as well.
Who knows? I mean, the top 10 is that's a lot of teams. 10. If you think about it, in a lot of conferences, because there's a lot of bad hockey teams in the CIS. There really is. If you look at the records across the country, some of those conferences aren't led by the exact same teams every year. There's an argument there at this end of the country too that UNB has always been the top team, and wow, it gets a little boring. Well, guess what? That's not true. We're here. We follow the games. We follow the players. We know what's going on. Acadia's stepped up their game. I've been a huge Acadia fan as far as watching them, a very exciting team over the years, and I always ended up picking them in the playoffs and always got burned. So Acadia has taken that extra step, led by Liam Heelis, top goal scorer, top point getter. So Acadia's there. StFX has won championships. Dal has won championships. But to be quite honest with you, there's 4 or 5 teams who I would have to say could win the title, could win the AUS championship. You can't say that about every conference out there. You just can't. You'll say this team or that team, maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 teams. But to be quite honest with you, the Panthers could win it. They've got tons of talent and probably the best tandem goaltenders in the league. StFX has got talent, Acadia, et cetera, et cetera. So this is a very dangerous conference going into the CIS. Like Mike and I talked about this, when you send one team, they've got a chance. Now, the argument can be made, well, of course they have a chance. They're at the national championships. But they really do have a chance because it's one of the better conferences. You send 2 teams, and it's highly likely that they're going to end up playing against each other. And other conferences will kind of yell at us for being so uppity about our league, but it's true.
Well,
we just won the University Cup in Italy.
Yeah. When you have 2 teams playing in the championship final from your conference.
Yeah, well, come on.
I mean, it's
cut me some
really
slack here,
no, seriously. That's why we've been talking about the AUS being the best conference in the country for a few years now.
You mean in the AUS and then going to CIS?
When St. Mary's and UNB last year playing in the national championship, I mean it's like 3 or 4 years ago when the SEC was easily the best conference in Canadian or American football. It's really not much question right now. Now, if one of those, I know Alberta's very good this year, Calgary's very good. If they go to the University Cup and they beat UNB or Acadia or whoever we send, and if they win the University Cup, then maybe we'll start talking about it.
Right.
But in terms of the last 4 or 5 years, outside of the McGill victory a couple of years ago, I don't even feel like there's a debate anymore as to what the best conference is in the country.
Until you knock them off the top of this, the snow hill, we're going to be the best.
I don't think any conference in the country, not just the fact that we have national champions almost every year, but the fact that 1 through 6, those 6 teams that always make the playoffs, that's just war. When those 6 teams go to playoffs, it's just absolute war in this conference.
And it's funny too because in the top 10, when you pick out all the teams, there's usually a spattering of teams. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not up to speed as to who's in the top 10 this week, but there's usually a spattering of teams from every conference. We've had as high as 4, and I'm gonna even go on a limb and say we've had as high as 5 in the top 10. I think it is 4 though. I don't know if we've ever had 5, but we've had 4 in the top 10 for consistently. And it's usually 3. We only have 2 now. But we've had up to 4 teams in the CIS top 10 for years and years and years and years. X were always there. Acadia was always near the bottom, but they were there, and UNB and St. Mary's. So there's the 4 teams that were always in that mix. UPEI was ranked this year. Acadia's been there. X is probably going to be on their way if they have a good showing this weekend. So it's a fun argument, but and I'm glad that we're here and we're able to be a part of it.
All right, well, Megan out there in Red Deer, take down your Christmas tree, you hipster. Still got a Christmas tree up. Can you imagine? Who knows this Megan, who always checks in with us on Twitter from Red Deer, the Medill family. She still has her Christmas tree up.
Don't feel too bad. My next door neighbor is Max Lassard, who was the captain of the Cape Breton Screaming Eagles. And I pulled into my driveway today, and I play hockey with Max. And he and I have a pretty good relationship. And I was just about to text him, Max, your girlfriend's gone away for work. I think you should take down your Christmas tree. You have some time to do it, my friend. There's not a bulb on it. There's no tinsel. It's just a tree standing in his window. So I think it's time for him to take his tree down.
All right. Steve Betts, the voice of the Huskies, here with Bill McLean. For Tigers hockey, you're watching the Tigers on AUSTV.ca, the home of Atlantic University Sport, and in conjunction with Bell Alliant Community One, the leader in local sports webcasting in Atlantic, Canada. Take a quick 2-minute break, and we'll come back with Steve Betts to get you ready for your second period. All right, friends, welcome back to the Forum. The Tigers are on the ice. The X-Men are on the ice in Fredericton. It is 1-1 right now between Winning Incorporated and the Cowboys. And in St. Thomas, I think 1-1 still there. And in Acadia, 2-0, the Axemen over the Huskies. Here in Halifax, 3-1 for StFX. Tigers scored first. X-Men responded with 3 goals, 2 of them of absolute highlight variety. And that's what's gotten us to this point. But, you know, it was the Wednesday night game. The Huskies dominated for the first period and a half. The Tigers took over halfway through the game, so Tigers could get on a surge here.
Well, you got to play 60 minutes. You only have 40 minutes left to do, to finish out the game. So the Tigers did not come out on top of that first 20 minutes. They lost it, so they've got to come back by a couple of goals. They got to get 3 goals here. You know, it sounds the math sounds simple, but that's a pretty big task against this well-oiled X-Men team. So the Tigers just have to come out with some energy. They got to come out hitting, finishing their checks like they started off the first period, and make sure that they are responsible defensively in their own zone, and you'll get turnovers and get some chances offensively. It's pretty simple, but not easy to execute when you have an opposition like the X-Men.
All right, so as we start our second period, Roger Kusner, thank you very much, Roger, checking in with us on Twitter, talking about some mic interference. So if you guys are hearing that as well, let us know. Sometimes it's just, as we got a Tigers with a great chance there. But Roger Kusner, thank you very much for checking in. If you guys are hearing any mic interference or the audio is not quite right, make sure you let us know, and we'll get working to fix it right away. We don't have Steve Betts here very often. We want to make sure everybody hears you just fine.
Well, I don't know about that, but Kusner, your son's out there on the ice right now causing all sorts of trouble for this Tigers team.
No luck on the centering pass. McAvoy. Garavac. No luck on the shot. So email us, bmcleansports, or tigerswebcast@gmail.com. or Twitter, bmcleansports, to reach out and let us know how everything sounds. Shout-outs, comments, opinions. We're talking AUS hockey all night long. If you have any comments, we'd love to hear them. 3-on-1 for Dalhousie. And a save by Morgan Clark with the toe as Walsh tried to go to his backhand. Langdon now hammering away at a wraparound, but no luck, man, oh man. Tigers don't get many opportunities like that. And an opportunity left begging for Dalhousie.
Well, 3-on-1, you really got to, a 3-on-1 should be a goal. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. I mean, you've got to really execute and make sure that you get that goal if you're going to do it alone. And that's exactly what the Tiger forward did there. I believe it was Walsh that went in. So, the coach is going to say, listen, man, you got to make sure that you bury that one way or another. I mean, Clark made an excellent toe save with his pad and his skate, but you know what? When you've got a 3-on-1, that should be almost like a 9 time out of 10. That's a 90% goal, in my opinion. So maybe not the right decision there by Walsh.
So hello again to Roger Kusner. Like you, Roger, a Maple Leafs fan, unapologetic.
Finally.
Yes.
I don't know if there's something on the ice there, Bill,
Yeah,
or
you're
not.
right. Yeah, a little piece of...
Oh, no, it's snow.
Oh, okay.
Snow it looked like a piece of padding or something. But finally, a Leafs fan. Well, that's good to know. Leafs not playing too well. They're a few points out of a playoff spot right now. So, it's ho-hum for the Leafs. I'm loving the new X-Men jerseys, by the way.
Yeah,
I haven't
they're very
seen
nice.
the new jerseys, but very stripy.
Yeah.
I like it.
Matt English, blocker save for Clark, no problem. DeBerge over there, deep, along with Fabian Walsh. Or check that, Francois Gauthier. So I think they got DeBerge out on the forward line now. We've seen that before, Betsy. They go with DeBerge sometimes on the fence, sometimes at forward.
Well, they've had McCaskill up front as well sometimes, and there's a Stevens is going to get a hooking penalty here, no doubt about that one. But we've seen, and Vandell plays on the point as well. So I was saying a little bit of a fresh idea from Coach Donnelly, moving some players around, utilizing their skills in the right situations, and then, you know what, that makes the players feel good. It gives them confidence, and they understand the coach is working hard and trying to get the right skills in the right spot. And, of course, they're giving it their all as well.
So a 5-on-4 for the Tigers for the next 2 minutes. Turned over right away. Brandon Ray couldn't get it to Kuhn. McConnell couldn't get it back to the line and cleared away by Kuhn. Bobby with it behind the net. Leaves it there for P.A. Vondell. Vondell, Wigginton, McConnell. Pat Daly way up here at the blue line. Here come the Tigers 4 across. Daly, nice pass. Wigginton dumps it into the far side corner. On the chase is McConnell against Ray. Wigginton in there. Josh Day, the captain. A little bit too far for Vondell. He has to try to get to it on the near side.
See, Bill, this is the problem. If you're going to dump the puck in, you got to make sure you get control. What's happening is the Tigers are putting all their eggs in one basket, and they're going in 2 and 3 strong. The puck is popping out, and then someone has to skate 45 feet to try and get to the puck. And StFX is playing it right. They're only sending 1 guy or 2 guys into the corner, and they're going to be around the puck when it pops out, and they're icing the puck down the ice. So the Tigers have to get better control in the offensive zone, and how they're going to do that is by carrying the puck in. They keep dumping the puck in, and they're not having any success at it.
All right, so this is Ralph King joining us, and we do have he says there's an audio problem as well, like a broken mic cord in the audio. So maybe what we might do is shot right on. We'll reevaluate the mic situation here in a couple seconds, turn the audio off, and see if we can get this fixed for you. Kuzner on the near side. That shot goes high. So let's do that, Bessie. So we're going to go off audio for just a bit. Video still will remain the same, and we'll see if we can get this mic situation fixed.
Test, test, 1, 2, mic check, 1, 2.
All right, we'll try that. See if it works.
Either Daly or McConnell.
Get that. All right, friends, let us know if that's a little better. We just switched up the mics. So tigerswebcast@gmail.com. Grant McConnell, thank you very much. So Grant McConnell checking in and saying we were all good. Grant, of course, Brad's dad.
This is unbelievable.
Well, you know what I'm like.
We know how this happens.
Yeah.
McConnell checks in. McConnell gets a goal. So we have 2 goals.
Did McConnell score?
Yeah, they gave it to McConnell. It was a big pile up out front. You're seeing the video. So you see 2 goals while we're down on audio. One goal was Brett Plouffe taking a shot from the point, and it looks like they gave it to Plouffe. So I thought it hit a player in front, but that's not the case. And then McConnell with a big scramble in front, thinking maybe it was Pat Daly after the puck Clark went down to try and stop the puck, but not the case at all. And McConnell gets the goal. So we're all tied up here. So the Tigers obviously putting pressure on, attacking the net, and are a little bit more responsible in the neutral zone specifically. Not so much in their own zone because they've been playing a lot in the X end, but they're getting more aggressive.
Mm-hmm. Well, great to hear from Grant, and thank you very much, sir. And so while the audio was down, 2 goals, 3-3 now. Tigers come back, and it's St. Mary's all over again. It was all StFX, just like it was all St. Mary's, but here come the Tigers. Now, can Coach Donnelly get the guys to keep going?
Wow, that's just it. And I mentioned at the start, too, you got to play the 40 minutes. So, and really, it's up to the players to understand that. The coach can yell at you all day, guys, hustle, change up, keep your shifts down to 45 seconds. Make sure you're winning those one-on-one battles. But really, it's up to you to play the hockey game. And so, they've got, they got 34 minutes to go here, and so far they're back. They're back to even. So it's a brand new hockey game. There's no doubt about it. And just one more comment too, Bill, before I hang up right on this play. Maybe we should go off air a few more times. If the Tigers get down, we'll just unplug the mics and move on.
3-3. It's a new hockey game here at the Forum. Again, keep us updated on the audio and video. Let us know if everything sounds okay to you. And we keep working away at it. There's McClellan out there. Our second time seeing Murdoch gets wrapped up with Reeder. We got a penalty coming up on the Tigers. So the Tigers are going to go to the penalty kill. Spinning away with it is Garabak. Ray off his skate. Wrapped up with P.A. Vondell. Moschmeyer up top, 6-on-5 here. A save by Nadeau. Goes to the far side corner. Kuzner first one on it. McCaskill battling against him. And then there's your whistle, and you'll go to your X-Men power play.
Well, I'm going to say this right now. That's not a penalty. Reeder's going to the box for basically what's not a penalty. And why is that? Why am I being so adamant about that? Well, the puck was actually at the feet of the X-Men forward who was going along the boards. Reeder just wasn't strong enough to knock him off the puck. That was basically a one-on-one battle. Reeder was behind the X-Men player, but his arms were in. He wasn't doing anything illegal, and I'm really not sure why the referee called that holding. On the flip side of that, the referee also should have blown the puck about 4 or 5 seconds earlier. So not exactly a stellar performance right there by the referee on that, in my opinion.
Ivanko had his stick break. It's right now behind Bobby Nadeau in the Tigers' net. So Ivanko gets off. Tigers dodge a bullet there. 90 seconds remaining on the power play for StFX. Hines with Gal. Gets past Moschmeyer into the neutral zone.
Nadeau was tricky enough. He'd pull that stick out a little bit further and put it on the line.
Gal in front, no luck. Wigginton calmly clears. And StFX will try it again with 1 minute left now on this power play.
So right in front of the same referee, McConnell hooks down an X-Men player in the offensive zone. The referee looked at him. McConnell actually looked at the referee thinking, you know what, I just committed a foul. The referee let it go. So he's not my favorite guy right now.
Maybe a makeup call of some sort.
Perhaps. But as I said, as you were trying to do some, I didn't think it was a penalty at all. It was a battle of one-on-one. Reeder was behind the X-Men player, but the puck was at the feet of the X-Men guy. Reeder kept his arms in. He was using his bottom and his shoulder. So I really don't understand why that was called a holding penalty.
McAvoy dumps it on the near side and has it along the far side boards. Battling there is Langdon. Tigers desperate to clear. They don't. No, they do. Offside on the X-Men. The Tigers just barely got it out.
Well, again, the puck falls to the feet of an X-Men player. It was clearly offside, and the head referee had to blow the whistle down as the linesman just kind of stared at the play. So I don't know what's going on, but let's move on from the stripes. The X-Men just having the Dal Tigers syndrome right now on the power play. They're just having a heck of a time getting control, and the Tigers are in the face of this X-Men team. They're hitting and they're skating right at them, and it's causing all sorts of problems. So maybe a new strategy by both coaches tonight that might work in the future as well. But the Tigers killing off this very important penalty kill. There's only about 8 seconds left.
Our second barn burner in 2 nights for the Tigers. Lost 4-3 to the Huskies on Wednesday, and now here they are pushing the X-Men. Wigginton. Reeder on the far side gets rubbed out. Struthers to the neutral zone. Medill knocked down nicely by McAvoy. I've always been a big fan of Spencer McAvoy. Just his height and his reach. He can just do so many things for you defensively.
Well, he's just proved that right there. He is an all-star. He played one-on-one with a Tiger forward and played him perfectly, stopped him in his tracks. He knocked a puck out of the air. He stayed on the ice even though he was tired and made a nice stretch pass as well. So McAvoy does it all, and he's a nice guy to boot.
Here come the X-Men across the neutral zone. Back and forth. McQueen over the net there and over the boards.
Well, it doesn't take much here at the Forum.
Zach McQueen. Sorry.
Does not take much here. The glass is pretty low. But I was going to say, it's a good back and forth on that. Although it was 5-on-4 for the X-Men, the Tigers putting a pushback on this X team, showing that they're not going to bend on the penalty kill. So we're back to 5-on-5 hockey.
We're halfway through this outstanding game here at the Forum in the center of Halifax on Friday night in the AUS. A busy night across all sports still going on. 4 hockey games. We'll do it again tomorrow night on the far side. Kuhn off the boards. Dumped right back in by the Tigers. Morgan Clark with it behind the net. Leaves it there for O'Connor. Hot pass along the far side boards to McQueen. McQueen couldn't hold the line. Tried to glove it down. A tough offside call there for StFX.
No comment on that one, but I will comment on Kuhn. One of the better passers in the AUS. He might not be the speediest of guys. He might not muscle you off the puck all the time. But I'll tell you right now, he has a heads up when it comes to giving guys the puck. He puts stuff under legs, under feet, under sticks, and he's very accurate with his passes. I mean, and the nice touch to them too. So there's a guy who is getting it done and making sure that they keep possession, does this X-Men team.
Chip forward by McInnes in the far side corner. Moschmeyer just misses a hit. And now collision there with Brendan Ray, the Moose Jaw native. Coming away on the far side is Slaney. He had one of the beauties tonight, a highlight goal, the second one for StFX. Jason Bass scored his 100th point in regular season play in AUS hockey, the 4th-year senior. Spinning away. Medill runs into Josh Day. Maybe a 3-on-1, but Cote couldn't quite get it. Now heads up here. Hines for the X-Men. Can't get all of it as Plouffe got back. How many times have we seen Brett Plouffe do that over the years?
Well, an absolutely horrible change by the Tigers, an absolute fail. The Dal Tigers pinched in. There was 2 of them. They ganged up on a Day right in front of their bench. And instead of getting back in the play, the Tigers, 2 of them just kind of stood there by the door. You don't tell your bench when you're standing at the door that you're coming off. You stay in the play. There's 2 white jerseys up by the blue line. So an absolute big break for the X-Men. Turns into nothing, but a very bad change up by the Tigers.
Beautiful passing through the X-Men through the neutral zone. McCaskill with it behind the net. Rubbed out there by Gal. McCaskill absorbs the contact. McConnell in the far side corner. No luck on clearance. McAvoy. And here's Josh Day. Bouncing puck to the near side. Past Gal. Trying to pick it up there was Garabak. Tigers trying to break out 2-on-1, just missing Wigginton. McAvoy. Dumped back in. Josh Day with a penalty coming up against
Offside.
Oh, offside, sorry.
It's the one with the red stripes on their arm that can make the penalty call.
Josh Day. That goes off one of the guys without the red stripes and bounces fortuitously to a Tigers defenseman. P.A. Vondell spins free there of Brandon Hines. Poked forward nicely to Reeder. Reeder creates space on the near side. A shot that goes over the crossbar. A good chance for the X-Men to break out. They got Struthers up ahead, but lugging it over there will be McQueen. McQueen in front, Struthers rebound, Nadeau. 2 big saves for Bobby. The light went on there by mistake. No goal, obviously. But McQueen and Struthers were robbed by Bobby Nadeau.
Well, I guess that light went on just in case it went in. I don't know, but the light did go on. But it was, had it gone in the net, it would have been in, or had it hit the net, it would have went in the net because Bobby Nadeau was 4 or 5 feet out of his net and went over his shoulder, but it missed.
Speedster Ivanko can't get past and create for Gauthier. And again, the X-Men break out with Hines, and Bobby flashes the leather. They want him to play it. He doesn't want to, but he will to Plouffe over on the near side for Ben McCaskill. McCaskill lugs it in the neutral zone on the far side for Taberge, too far. And icing on the Tigers, and you can hear Brett Plouffe say, what?
Yeah, I agree with Brett Plouffe. That's a weak play. You have 2 players who were going into the puck. They were, X-Men, of course, are going to say that's icing all day, but you know what? That puck was easily playable by both players, and there was no danger of, any defenders getting smushed there. So, oh well, so it goes. I'm on Brett's side on that one. But good end-to-end action here, Bill. I'm very happy to see that the Tigers are able to get back into this and make this a hockey game. They've certainly showed up in this second period.
3-3 from the Forum. Nice diving play by Gauthier, trying to get Ivanko across the red line, and Brett Taberge in alone. And I don't think he got it. No, he missed it as he went to his backhand. Clark had a pad out, but Taberge couldn't finish it off.
Yeah, one too many moves. He kind of ran out of room, but Clark certainly played him well and made Taberge make that kind of extra stick handle. And I think Taberge just kind of lost the handle on the side of the net and actually didn't get a shot on Clark.
Cote on the chase, can't quite get there. Stevens takes a hit from Fabian Walsh. Walsh in front for McInnes, couldn't get a shot off. Walsh tries to wrap around, Clark is there. X-Men breaking out across the neutral zone with Jason Bass. Nicely knocked away in the air by McCaskill. Clark leaves it. Here comes StFX again with Carletti on the far side. Takes a hit from English. Nadeau comes in to help. Has to hurry to get back to his net. No luck on the pass back to Kuzner. Here comes StFX with McCaskill, or McInnes, sorry.
It's hard with no names, isn't it? When I did the game, it was, you know the numbers, you know who they are, but...
Slaney, a backhanded shot that goes just wide. Behind the net again is Slaney.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear your voice there. It's left brain and right brain, because you don't see, you know their numbers, you know who they are, but you don't see their names, so it doesn't quite match up.
Gal loses it. Tigers trying to break away. McConnell went off a linesman, trying to break out. Chipped in on the far side by Kuzner. Well, I tell you what, I'd rather do the Tigers with the no names and the easy numbers to identify. The Huskies, I don't know how you do it, the 1s and the 7s look exactly the same.
Listen, Mike and I had that same conversation, and there's a few guys, we get Cord and Wynn mixed up all the time, number 8 and number 5. They're both defensemen, they both have the same body type, and their names are 4 letters, and they're single-digit numbers. And there's 3 or 4 guys like that. It is kind of tricky, but hey, that's what we do. And I thought you were going to say Moncton.
Yeah, I get
the French names, because not easy to do if you're not bilingual.
Batted back in by McClellan. Nicely done by the former Cape Breton Screaming Eagle. Vondell behind the net with it. Taberge. Here come the Tigers, trying to break out. No luck for Reeder, taken away by McClellan.
Well, the Tigers have got to get something going here in order to get into that X zone. The X-Men are just taking it to them right now, and it's a simple fact of a lot of puck watching. They're just not breaking up any passes. They're not putting their sticks into any alleys or anything like that. So the Tigers have to get something going here. We're talking about playing a full 60 minutes. Well, right now the X-Men are outplaying this Tigers team.
3:45 left in your second period. 3-3. Tigers scored first, X-Men 3 unanswered, and then the Tigers scored 2 while we were trying to fix our audio. Still waiting for a response on that. Let us know if it sounds okay now. Francois Gauthier down on the near side for Taberge. Taberge spinning back. Can't get the shot through, goes off Big McAvoy. Gauthier in there, he has McAvoy. Taberge comes in to help, and eventually taken away by McQueen. Wholesale changes for both teams.
Well, McAvoy with a rare, dangerous or high-risk play in front, trying to tip that puck or knock it down, only 12 feet out from Clark, but he was able to knock it into the corner. But that's the type of stuff that you don't see McAvoy normally do, but he did there, and it nearly cost him.
Hines to Best, a shot right on, and Bobby cuts off the angle and makes the save. Nadeau sharp once again.
Bass, not the shot that you normally see from him either. That was kind of into the chest of Bobby, but Bobby had the angle covered quite well. Bass, man, he's got a good shot. There's no doubt about that. He can fly, and he's got an excellent shot as well to complement all those other skills.
Well, down in Wolfville, Acadia right now taking it to the Huskies. The number 3 ranked Axemen leading St. Mary's 5-1 halfway through the second period in Wolfville. As Kirkpatrick is going to be looked at over there on the X-Men side, Kirkpatrick is leaving to be looked at.
Well, the Huskies, a team that's got so much talent from top to bottom. They get Peters back, they get McCauley there now. They had 5 guys actually go to the University Cup in Italy. I mean, they're a team that's full of talent. They just obviously are off kilter right now, and obviously Acadia are just absolutely rolling.
4 X-Men players across the blue line. We are 5-on-5 hockey right now, but X being very aggressive. Bast, Walsh. Nice job by Fabian, and it gets wrapped up there. No call as Fabian got held up. Dumped into the near side corner. Brennan Ray, the longtime X-Men, with it on the far side. Across the neutral zone comes Brennan. 1:40 left in this second period. Slaney kicks it towards Bobby Nadeau. Kuzner back there against Luke Medill. Wigginton in there to help. Slaney comes in. Kuzner comes away with it. No luck cycling it to Slaney. Pat Daly chips in to help. Gal to Ray. One-timer by Josh Day, that's off the skate. A Brett Plouffe, confusion for the Tigers. Gal creates the turnover, but now Daly through the neutral zone couldn't hook up with McConnell.
Well, Wigginton doing a heck of a job in his own zone, basically shadowing Slaney in that. I know they're matched up basically position to position, but Wigginton did exactly what the Dow Tigers have to do, and that's be responsible for your position and for your man. And he shut down Slaney a couple times, because we've seen Slaney, throughout his career, embarrass players, and he did that tonight actually in a one-on-one situation. So Wigginton, my hat's off to you on that shift.
That shot goes just wide. A great email here coming up for you once we have a break as we try to figure out the audio issues. McCaskill across the red line, 2-on-2. McCaskill with Langdon, a shot right on. So thanks again, Ralph King. Thank you so much, Ralph, for checking in with us. It's your mic, Steve Betts, which I'm going to have to change here at the end of the internet course this year. The one time we get Steve Betts in the press box and your mic's not working.
Yeah, well, no respect.
Man.
Couldn't buy new mics. Couldn't buy a new headset, new puffy one. A nice earpiece.
So thanks again to Ralph King for checking back in with us. We're trying to get that fixed during the intermission. McClellan battling with Wigginton. Just 10 seconds left here in this second period. A good one from the Forum.
Little does Ralph know my mic's being held together by bubble gum, so that's exactly why it's cutting out every once in a while.
3-3. 2 seconds left to face off outside the zone. We're going to go to an incredible third period. Well, if you had your choice of AUS games tonight, people might not join us.
That's right.
with the X-Men and the Tigers. You know, people might look at that Acadia Huskies game or the UNB PEI game, but I tell you what, if there's a better AUS hockey game than this one tonight, I'd love to see it.
I'm enjoying this game. This is a fast-paced game. There's been some hiccups by both teams, but I mean, that's hockey. But no doubt in my mind that the Tigers have kept their wits about them and have fought back to tie this up. And that's exactly, as a fan of hockey, that's what you want to see, a good battle, and that's what we're seeing.
Greg Reeder checking in with us on the email. Thank you very much, Greg. From Regina, Saskatchewan, we talked to Andrew in the first term during one of the games, and Andrew out there on the ice now. And great to have Greg with us. Our first email from Greg from Regina. Great to have you with the Tigers family. So, again, B. McLean Sports on Twitter. Betsy on Twitter. We'll have that information up on the screen. And, of course, the classic Tigers webcast at gmail.com to reach out to us. Give us a few seconds. We're just going to tinker with the audio a bit and keep the feedback coming. Me and Steve Betts back in just a few minutes to break down what is another crazy season in the AUS and get you ready for the third period. When we have it like that. right, friends, welcome back to the Forum. We're about 4 minutes away from starting our third period here. Again, let us know how it looks, how it sounds. Comments, opinions, feedback, questions for Steve Betts, anything right there at tigerswebcast@gmail.com. And, of course, B. McLean Sports on Twitter and Betsy on Twitter as we say hello to Brian Medill. Great to have you with us again, Brian. Great point here by Brian. You know, the Tigers have been tied or in the lead 3 of their last 4 games. Just a matter of finishing for this Tigers team.
I assume they mean like going into the third period type of tied or in the lead?
At some point they've had the lead or they've been tied.
Well, there you go. So, I mean, obviously the Tigers need to learn how to finish, and that's just playing the 60 minutes. I don't know, I could beat a dead horse here, but that's the truth of it. So, I mean, you got to think about what your counterpart is thinking. The other team is thinking, well, it's tied right now, so they're probably thinking a lot along the lines of trying to win, but also not trying to lose. You don't want to give up any odd man rushes. You don't want to give up any bad goals in your own zone just from failure of playing defense. So both teams are probably going to be a little bit tentative. I mean, the Tigers, obviously, every game is like a playoff game for the Tigers at this point. And, of course, StFX, they're trying to establish themselves as one of the better teams. So neither team wants to lose, but on the flip side of that, really, hockey is an aggressive sport. You got to go hard. Doesn't matter if you're down 2 goals or if you're down 6 or if you're tied. You got to go hard. So I think we're going to see one bang-em-up third period between both these teams, even though they're at kind of different stages or different points in their season.
Tigers have actually outshot the X-Men. That's a first. We haven't seen that in a long time. Usually it's almost a 2-to-1 ratio for the opposite team. Tigers outshooting StFX 17-16 tonight. Again, they scored the last 2 goals. Daly, Luke Medill, and Brad McConnell for the Tigers. Blake Gall, Robert Slaney, and Brandon Hines for the X-Men. And, of course, Jason Bass got an assist on that goal. That was his 100th point. But here we go, 3-3. And, again, maybe the game of the night in the AUS right here in Halifax with the Tigers and the X-Men. Another barn burner with the Tigers. Go ahead.
I was going to say, X-Men, despite them being quote-unquote in the middle of the pack, I mean, right now it's UMB and Acadia at the top of the charts, but, the X-Men have to worry about what the other teams are doing to a certain extent. I mean, it's my guess that the X-Men will be in the playoffs. It's really a given, but, there's teams like Moncton who are kind of flying under the radar right now, UPEI as well. Those are teams that are, in the middle of the pack as far as their records go. But in all honesty, you got to watch those guys, see what those teams are doing, and the reason is you want home advantage. Those series are so short at the start of the playoffs. They're best of 3, and to be quite honest with you, it's hard to recuperate. You lose a game, and basically you could be out the next game. So you really do got to kind of take a look and see who's clicking on each team and come up with a strategy to shut down their big guns and figure out what you got to do. As the lights come on up here in the press box and scared the stuffing out of Billy, you really got to key on certain players on the ice. And, of course, we saw Wigington on Slaney. And that's the type of defense I'm talking about. You got to shut down the big guns. So StFX has to kind of look around and Coach Peddle has to keep building strong strategies versus these other teams that they're fighting for, basically playoff positioning, shall we say, because right now it's a safe bet that Acadia and UMB are probably going to get the bye, and then you're going to see StFX in that first round with whoever.
The Blackwoods checking in, cheering on the Tigers from Newfoundland. Great to have you guys with us on the email, tigerswebcast@gmail.com. And, of course, reach out on the Twitter as well. Buckle up, here we go. Another outstanding third period of action coming up from the Forum with the Tigers.
And, folks, I know you're at home saying, man, I wish he'd stop saying the Twitter. It's not going to happen. It's going to be the Twitter until the day he hangs up his mic. So save your tweets and your emails as they're, well, believe it or not, and I'm not going to jinx it, I don't know about your Dow games, but there's other reasons why our games are so delayed here at the Forum.
Yeah.
But they're patching up the ice, actually, down there. It looks like the tractor might have taken out a chunk in behind Clark, so the linesman's smoothing that gap out, and it looks like he's all done.
Well, the original broadcast duo of Dalhousie Tigers hockey on the webcasts, now on AUS TV, and backed by pretty much no popular demand.
No popular demand.
McLean
I pretty much invited myself tonight, I think. But really, were we like the first longevity group when this whole Bill McLean sports thing started?
For the AUS or just
a bit of both, because you were doing a lot of solo work, and then had guests color for be it soccer or hockey, whatever.
Yeah.
You and I kind of matched up, I think, for the longest period of time, was it not?
I'm not sure about other, but yeah, for the Tigers, we were the original broadcast duo for women's and men's hockey back at the DMA, of course. Long live.
God rest its soul, eh?
The DMA,
the giant barn in the middle of the city. There was a barn, and it was called the DMA.
Good times were had. Now we're at the Forum with this Tigers team, battling StFX.
Well, that would have been the last playoffs. Would have been for the Tigers. Would have been at the DMA.
Their one playoff game at home over the past 4 or 5 years. Here comes Moschmeyer. Hot shot in front, a save by Bobby Nadeau. And, of course, you remember that game, Betsy. Bobby Nadeau's only playoff game in his 5 years at home, and he had to write a dentistry exam.
Yeah.
Couldn't play.
Yeah, he couldn't make it. And you know, that could be part of the problem that Dal has. I mean, I don't know if other schools would accommodate that, but there was no way. You know, I had a few conversations with people in the know, and there was no way that Bobby was going to be allowed to write that at a different time. And that was that. So, you know, I can't really comment on other schools and what they did, but that's what happened with Bobby.
Puck's down the far side, dumped in by StFX. Bobby can't get to it. McQueen over to the other side now. Kuhn gets it back to Day, a shot, and Bobby Nadeau steers it his side. McCaskill to Burge. That goes off a linesman, and fortuitously on the stick of an X-Man. Dumped into the near side corner. First on it is Luke Medill. Nice job by Francois, and here comes Brett DeBurge on the near side. 2-on-2 with the Bonko. Shot goes off an X-Man. The Bonko, a shot that goes just wide. Medill has it on the far side, throws it at the net. Wacky bounce off the boards. And we got a penalty coming up on StFX as Gabriel O'Connor just threw a Tiger to the ice.
Well, O'Connor in his third year is a big boy. He's 6'3". That's my favorite number. God bless him. O'Connor is same size as me too, a little bit more fit, but just put a mugging on the Tiger coming up the boards. So a PP here for this Tigers team. And basically the early going. We're just under 17:40 here in the third.
Face-off win, but it goes all the way back to Morgan Clark. You know, getting back to the DMA, too, we used to love the Tigers and the X-Men because both teams were so fast through the neutral zone. And at the DMA, they had that ping-pong hockey or pinball hockey, we talked about it, with the quick kickers and all that.
Well, the boards are really bouncy there. You could shoot a puck in, and you'll see it. You see it a lot in different leagues with different arenas, but they try that.
A goal for the Tigers. McConnell, I think. Nope. McConnell was in the area, but it might be Andrew Wigington.
I think it's Wigington in front, and it was a simple, you know what, it's a simple power play. Keep control of the puck, get into the zone. StFX wasn't being very aggressive. Spread out, get them spread out so you can see the alleys, and then you pinch in, you swarm, and that's exactly what the Tigers did. And it was a nice shot from the point, and it was kind of a pass shot. And a very excellent tip play by Wigington right in front, about 10 or 15 feet out. Gets them up 4-3.
The Tigers have come all the way back. They trailed 3-1, now leading 4-3 with 17 minutes left in the third period. And now breaking out 2-on-3, dumped in by Walsh. Clark behind the net. McAvoy on the near side corner. Jason Bast. And that is going to be icing on StFX, I think.
Yes, 6 or 7 feet away from the red line. I think it was an attempted tip play that didn't quite work out for the X-Men.
So StFX playing hot hockey at this time of the year, but right now trailing the Tigers by a goal.
Another reason Jason Bass is so valuable, he's a good face-off man. Wins the face-off with a kick of his foot.
Bass battling against Medill. Wigginton comes in to help. Pins Bass to the ice. Tussle on the near side corner. Medill. Around the net for Pluff. Lots of space for Brett over there. Cote takes a big hit from McClellan that opened the door. McClellan has been throwing the body tonight for StFX. Medill dumps it in.
I cringe every time I see Pat Daly get hit because I know he's had shoulder problems, and that was one of them, but it was more of a leg hit right there. You get a little worried when you see Pat take a big hit.
Pierre Vondel loses it. Trying to break away here for the X-Men is Kuzner. Shot off the blocker of Bobby Nadeau, and that was Rob Slaney in there. Well, you know the X-Men are going to keep coming. Bobby Nadeau is probably, as we've seen, Bobby Nadeau is probably going to have to make some huge saves as we come down the stretch.
Well, Bobby Nadeau is no stranger to having to do that. He's seen a lot of rubber, and he might see a lot of shots tonight, but you're absolutely right. The last 4 or 5 minutes of this hockey game will be very important, but the last 15 really, if you think about it, because I really doubt the X-Men are going to sit back, especially when they're down a goal.
On the far side boards, there's Ivanko. Nice toe drag there by Ivanko, but poke checked away by Moschmeyer at the last second. Puck is tipped, couldn't get through to Struthers. Nicely tipped ahead by Tabersh. No luck on the pass to Ivanko, and 2-on-2 comes St. Francis Xavier. Struthers, that shot doesn't get past McGill. McQueen on the far side. There's Matt English. Taberge shoots it after it goes off a linesman, and a save from Morgan Clark. Far side, Zach McQueen. Kuhn falls as he gets past Medill. Cote comes over to tip it away.
Yeah, Medill's lucky he didn't get a penalty there because he basically tripped up the forward for the X-Men, which would have been very unfortunate for the Tigers.
Another trip. This time it was Struthers who went down and no call. If he's slow to get up, he'll make his way to the bench. And Struthers goes slamming into the glass. Tried to show some frustration over there and ended up nearly taking himself out on the end glass.
Yeah, he's hurting. I think he hurt his elbow or his wrist or something along those lines. It's a bit of a stinger. Players don't normally act that way. When they're really injured, they're more just hurt.
That's down to the near side corner. Hines couldn't get there. McInnes has it. Misses it. Now Hines pressuring. Wigginton nearly took out Steve Betts. Stays in play. That's the first time I've seen a puck come up here.
I have never seen a puck come that close to us. I've seen the hit lights and stuff in front of us, but that was pretty close.
Could have reached out and caught it.
Was feeling very Wes Welkery there. I almost reached out for it to try and grab it, but it would have been a bad thing. I know you're not grabbing me to save me because I'd pull you over. There's not a chance in.
Steve Betts, of course, a legendary baseball player in the Moncton area and still dominates in the local intermediate league.
No, what papers have you been reading, son?
Big hitting first baseman. I'm surprised your natural instincts didn't just kick in there and catch it.
Those days are over, but yeah, you would have, by no choice of your own, would have been coming with me.
Dumped in by Wigginton to the near side corner. There's Gabby O'Connor with it. Over the near side, too far for Gal. Nearly takes on an X-Men, but stays in play off the boards. Slaney and Langen. Langen has a poke checked away calmly by Kuzner. Matt English at the red line. Dumps it to the far side. Carlotti in there to get to it first. Vondel pressuring. Gal. Bouncing puck out of the neutral zone. Vondel has it. 12 minutes left here in your third period.
And I was going to say, this is the exact hockey that Dow needs to play right now. They're pressuring StFX. They're not giving them any lanes to carry the puck or pass the puck. It's kind of messy hockey, but to be quite honest with you, it's killing the clock, and that's working in the favor right now for Dow.
They got a good one going on in Fredericton between the Cowboys, the UPI Panthers, that's their nickname, and UNB. And, of course, here in Halifax, 4-3, the game of the night in the AUS, right here with me and Steve Betts.
So Charlotti for the X-Men's going to the penalty box. As Charlotti's the one that shot it over the boards as Gal goes to the penalty box. Not really sure why. I think they might be pulling the fast ones here on the referees. I don't know. But it seems like maybe there was an infraction that was called before Charlotti shot it over the boards. We'll try and see if we can get it from Bruce Hartland. It's so hard to hear with the acoustics here.
So a great chance for the Tigers to get some separation. McConnell. High into the air, knocked away by StFX by Brendan Ray.
Well, Blake Gall is in the box and is for delay of game, so maybe I just got the jerseys mixed up in the group of guys that were down there.
No luck on that centering pass for the Tigers. Comes all the way to Bobby Nadeau. He's going to have to leave it for McCaskill. Tigers will reset. Bast and McClellan out there with O'Connor and Charlotti on the far side. Ivanko, the leading scorer, with Plouffe on the ice along with DeBerge. Fabian Walsh. Medill joins the pack. And the puck dumped in for Fabian Walsh. Takes a hit from O'Connor. DeBerge. A little bit too far for Walsh. Kept in by Medill. Again dumped out.
Again, Tigers not getting in a tight pack and going in together. Puck was dumped in. It's not working for them. Carry the puck in. Get another black jersey near you to support you. And that's how you're going to gain the zone against StFX and control the play. There's another penalty coming up to the X-Men here for hooking. Let's see who this one's on, Bill. It looks like it's going to be McQueen. It's not who I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be Josh Day, actually. But it is McQueen. So 5-on-3, 38 seconds left in the first penalty, and of course 2 minutes on the board for the second one.
38 seconds on the 5-on-3. Face-off win for McConnell. A nice diving play by McCaskill to hold the line. Great chance for the Tigers. McCaskill fires it, but on the backhand was Wigginton. And kind of a premature whistle there, but they'll have a face-off to the blocker side of Morgan Clark as we say hello to Holly Ivanko. Great to have Holly with us, cheering on Chris, the leading scorer this year for the Tigers there in Calgary. Thank you very much, Holly.
Well, Wigginton with a golden chance right in front, and unfortunately he didn't have that scorer's instinct. He just kind of shot it blindly into the net, but he had Clark down and out. Had he held on to that and had a little bit more patience, we would have been able to walk around maybe a foot or two and just put it into the empty net because Clark was down and out.
Tigers webcast at gmail.com and your Twitter information on your screen.
5-on-4 hockey, Bill.
McConnell out there with McCaskill. Wigginton. Bondell couldn't control the pass on first touch and hesitation lost it.
Well, they gained the line, they had it, and Vondell made a very high-risk pass across 5 or 6 different players. That's really not what you want to do. And we're going to see too many men here for the Dalhousie Tigers, but Vondell could have easily just held on to the puck and had better control for his team on the power play.
I think we have too many men on the ice on the Tigers coming up, Betsy.
Yeah, absolutely. There was. I looked down and there was at least 4 guys standing on the ice by the doorway, which is not the way you want to go, as Pat Daly is going to go to the penalty box for the Tigers. Yeah, there was 3 forwards out on the ice and 4 guys standing on the ice by the door, and the puck came right into all 4 of them.
So 4-on-4 hockey for a minute, and then StFX going on much-needed power play for St. Francis Xavier. Medill dumps it in. Morgan Clark. McAvoy. On the near side, there's Ted Stevens. Haven't seen Stevens in a bit. Day and Struthers for StFX.
So, Bill, assuming nothing happens in the next minute or so. This is a huge penalty kill for the Dial Tigers, and if they want to win this hockey game, that penalty kill is going to be absolutely massive for them.
9:30 left in the third period on the far side. Stevens dumps it in. A little tricky there for Bobby, but a big rebound, but right there is McCaskill. Kendall McInnes on the near side. Tigers come out 3 across. And here's your power play beginning in 8 seconds for StFX. McInnes. Killing time. Reeder on the ice. A nice wraparound chance there for McInnes. And now here's your power play. 5-on-4 for StFX for 50 seconds. Hines. Into the Tiger zone. Jason Bast. Hines. Shot goes just wide. McInnes on the far side. Can't clear. Jason Bast in loss of space. Nice shot block by Kurt McCaskill. Or Ben McCaskill, and he will clear.
Kurt's his brother, maybe?
I don't know where I can have a Kurt from. There's Ben again.
Kurt McCaskill.
Moschmeyer couldn't control the pass at the blue line and back to the neutral zone. But regardless, that was a huge shot block by Ben.
Well, it's not like we have producers in our ears, telling us what the names are. I think we do a pretty good job.
2-on-1 for Holly Ivanko's brother. A shot that goes over the crossbar, though. Chris with a great chance.
Ivanko would like to have that one back. He kind of telegraphed that shot a little bit. I mean, he didn't take his eyes off of Clark. He had his teammate in the slot waiting for the pass. But unfortunately, that goes off the defenseman's stick. A dangerous play on 2-on-1. But it worked out for them as the puck hits that mesh. 2 seconds left in the Tiger penalty.
Just over 8 minutes left for StFX. Back to 5-on-5. They're going to have to try to tie this up at even strength. McAvoy takes a hit, dumps it in. Bobby Nadeau to Brian's son, Luke. Nicely brought down by McAvoy, but into the neutral zone. McAvoy. No luck hooking up. And here comes Kuzner across the blue line. Kuzner with speed and a shot that goes just wide. McQueen on the near side. Back to Kuzner.
If this play continues on and something bad happens for the Tigers, Kuzner made a heck of a play, but his teammate made a better one. McQueen holding his line. He actually took a hit from the Tigers forward, but he was able to keep his foot on the ice. Had he lifted his foot, it would have been offside.
Kuzner got off a wicked shot, and Bobby Nadeau made one of his best saves of the night. The rebound was cleared away, and now StFX trying to set up once again. Pass a little bit behind Kuhn. Kuhn trips over Kuzner's stick. That's Kuzner's stick out there on the ice. He left it there. Doesn't look broken, but it obviously must be. Far side, Stevens to the backhand. So the Tigers thankful right now for that. Great job by Kuzner's stick to take away that rush. Now Kuzner's stick again causing trouble for Stevens. Doesn't get through. Dumped it by McInnes. And we got a little pushing and shoving there.
Referee letting the boys play.
Broken up very quickly by the linesman. They didn't have to stop play. P.A. Bondell dumps it in on the backhand. Just over 6 minutes left in their third period. 4-3 for the Tigers. You're on Tigers TV, part of AUS TV. Turned over Reeder. Just couldn't finish it off. Took it away. Matt English. And now another stick flying around in front of Morgan Clark. Reeder, a wild shot that goes over the crossbar. What a crazy sequence that was.
Wow, well, Charlotti making the play of the night for the X-Men because he stopped the goal right on the side of the net. He was able to stop the Tigers forward from jamming that in. I think it was Walsh that was on the side of the net. And what a great play by him. And then, of course, we see Gabriel O'Connor giving his stick to Clark, and that's whose stick you saw. The big white stick was actually Clark's stick in his crease while he was using O'Connor's stick. So very odd play and a dangerous play for the X-Men because Charlotti had to save an open net from Walsh, and then he had Clark with a defenseman's stick.
5.5 minutes left. That hot pass, no luck for Slaney. DeBerge off the glass, right back behind the net for Josh Day. Francois Gauthier, the Tigers veteran, thrown at the net by Matt English. And no problem for Matt English. Good news for you StFX fans. The women's team, which of course nationally ranked, they have lost 3 in a row. But StFX leading St. Thomas right now, 3-1. So that's a good news for StFX fans.
Well, the Tigers showing that they're able to, well, up to this point, I should say, have been able to finish, as we should call it. They've been playing a very high-energy third period here, and they've changed quite a bit defensively. They're very much responsible for their guys and showing due diligence. And so far, so good for the Tigers with 5:30 left on the clock.
McCaskill couldn't hold the line. Slaney battling against McConnell. Big collision on the near side corner. Moschmeyer. Kirkpatrick on the far side. We haven't seen much of Kirkpatrick. He's trying to line one up. Shot goes just wide, and he breaks the stick. Gets it again. That's actually Brendan Ray over there. So we got sticks flying all over the ice right now. Talked earlier about the DNA. This is reminiscent of those games at the DNA. Just chaos on the ice. And touched by the Tigers, and here comes a huge StFX power play.
I got to tell you, again, the referee with a questionable whistle. The puck was free. Slaney for the X-Men. I say John, but it's not John, obviously. The puck squirts out. It wasn't covered. I don't know why the referee blew the whistle, and Slaney had his stick free. He could have easily put that in the net for the X-Men, but a very odd call by the referee to begin with for the Tigers, and then the puck wasn't covered by Nadeau, and he blows the whistle. So, well, a break for the Tigers? Question mark? I don't know. They got a penalty, definitely a holding penalty, no doubt about that, but an early whistle is a bad break for the X-Men. A mystery number.
So a penalty, and here come the X-Men.
We tell you who it is, but he's not on our roster.
Last week they beat StFX, or beat UNB 7-2, and tonight they're trailing the Tigers 4-3.
It's certainly not Amiot. Nonetheless.
Slaney. And that goes off Slaney's stick. And Slaney a little jab there for Langdon. And Langdon obviously taking offense.
Well, Slaney's been taking a lot of hacks in front of the net, in front of that Tigers net, and he's obviously feeling it, and he's feeling a little edgy, and he's been doing it quite a bit. So,
Miles McCurdy is in the penalty box for the Tigers.
Attaboy, Billy.
Just over 4 minutes left. Around the boards. Nice job by Bobby. But a weak clearing attempt. And now the X-Men in business. Bast. That pass was deflected. Moschmeyer. Bast. Walks in, and in traffic, Nadeau makes a save. Langen diving in front, and he'll clear the zone. Nice diving play by Bast, but couldn't hold it.
Well, Bobby Nadeau putting all the marbles, or all the eggs in one basket, coming out to challenge when he's got 2 or 3 white jerseys down low, makes a save, and then Langen saves the day because Langen gets down on the ice and stops the pinching defenseman from putting that in an open net. So a great job by Langen and Bobby Nadeau to be aggressive, to be very aggressive on the penalty kill.
The X-Men really out of sorts right now. Moschmeyer on the dump in throws it over the boards. So the face-off will come out of the zone. 35 seconds left for the blue and white.
Not completely bad news. It's only in the neutral zone, but you're absolutely right. That's not exactly what you want to do if you're on the power play.
5-on-4 for you friends, for you Tigers fans, not from Halifax and Nova Scotia. Of course, StFX from Antigonish. About 2 hours outside of Halifax going towards Cape Breton. Which is a beautiful little town. Gorgeous campus. Great chance for Struthers. He gets knocked down. No call.
I think Struthers just blew a tire there. His stick was lifted. A great play by Matt English to get back on that hustle back, but Struthers no doubt was on his way to the net, but I think he just lost an edge. 5-on-5 hockey, Bill, sorry.
Dumped into the far side. Reeder on the chase. McAvoy gets there first, and big 6'3" McAvoy, the senior, has it on the far side from his longtime teammate Josh Day. Gauthier, pesky is Gauthier, creating the chance for Reeder. Open net and cleared away by Stevens. Tigers nearly had some big separation. 2:28. Puck to the far side. Time running out for StFX. Day wires a shot, and Bobby Nadeau couldn't secure, but Brett Plouffe right there, and ever so calmly clears the zone, does Plouffe. Up ahead was Gauthier. They couldn't get it to him. He's at the end of a long shift. Moschmeyer across the blue line. Kuhn does well to stay on side, and Bobby Nadeau will hold on after the kick save. Well, the Tigers, feisty. Looking to get their second win of the season.
Tigers are playing a good hockey game right now. I know they had a couple of hiccups early on in that first period and definitely in the second period, but they finished the second period super strong, as you can tell from the scoreboard, and they are playing good hockey right now. There's no doubt about that. They're just doing their job out there on the ice, and they're being very aggressive with their passes. They're hitting one of the things that's creating offensive opportunities for them is the guys without the puck are playing a lot better. They're getting to open ice, and the guys with the puck are hitting them with that puck.
1:53 left in the third period. We'll keep an eye here on Clark. Daly deep into the zone. Wigginton on the chase. 3-2, UNB leads UPEI in Fredericton. Here in Halifax, 4-3 for the Tigers. 4 X-Men across. And Morgan Clark still in the net. I thought they might bring him there, Betsy, on that rush, but he's still in net.
Well, a minute and a half, 1:31 left. So yeah, I mean, you're definitely within that time for sure. It's just whatever Coach Peddle feels he's able to do with the players that he has. And Clark is really on the top of a circle, so they're not really paying any attention to him. So they must know what's going on between each other. And there goes timeout for Coach Peddle, and they're probably going to send out the 6th guy, which they are. That's exactly what's happening. Gal's going to come out as the 6th skater for the X-Men.
Well, the Tigers didn't get their win on Wednesday night against the Huskies, but now with the same score again, 4-3, trying to close out StFX. And chances are good. This is just going to be 90 seconds of just all-out assault here by StFX.
Well, this is going to be classic X-Men hockey. It's going to be strategic. It's going to be planned out. You can see the players talking to one another about what's going to happen, pointing out positions on the ice. So X has something planned. There's no doubt about it. So it's really going to be up to the feet, the footwork of this Tigers team, and their desire to win this hockey game. 1:31 on the clock.
Slaney's out there. That's McAvoy to Hines. Cross-ice pass, and he had Josh Day, who had an open net, and Day just missed it. No luck on the pass off the boards to McAvoy. Tigers had 3 players breaking out there, but couldn't get a shot at the empty net.
Well, you got an X-Men without a stick right now, and that's Josh Day. So you got 5.5 players out there, as Day's going to have to leave and get a stick.
Ibonko just misses the open net. There is 1 minute remaining from the Forum. 4-3. Here comes StFX, led by McAvoy. No luck on the tip pass, but a good job by Slaney. Onside. Gal. Nadeau the one save, and then a bouncing puck that he holds on to with Jason Bast on the doorstep.
Well, Luke Matto with the defensive play of the final minute right there, as he takes that charging X-Men forward right in front of the net. There was a rebound there. It was ready to come out, but Matto did an excellent job. Just what you're supposed to do, and that's to take away the offensive players when they get in around your goal. So a really good job there by Matto as the linesman. There is a stick plate actually in the middle of the ice too. Oh, the referee caught him. Going to clear that in front of Clark's net. Clark, of course, is on the bench right now. And 43 seconds, Bill.
Slaney, Hines, Bast, Gal, Ray, and Moschmeyer. Your StFX 6. Slaney comes free with it on the near side. Knocked away by Plouffe. Brendan Ray off his skate. Moshmeyer to Slaney. Again on the near side corner, 25 seconds left. And hitting the deck there, McCaskill. Bringing down Gal, no call. The play keeps going. That shot goes just wide. McConnell a chance to clear. Here comes Pat Daly with the backhand. Pat Daly, ever so calm. And the Tigers lead 5-3, and that'll just about do it.
Well, that will do it. 12 seconds left. The Tigers put it all together. They finish off strong. Daly gets a nice clearing play by the Tigers, 6-on-5. Hines for the X-Men actually shooting Bobby Nadeau's stick away, which would have been an interference penalty had the referees picked it up. But the puck pops out. Pat Daly is able to get to it and kind of flick that one in there. The crowd kind of waiting for it because it was a spinning puck, but it actually hit the middle of the net. So the Tigers put it all together, put 60 minutes together, and come out with a victory.
A 2-goal night for Pat Daly. And we talked earlier in the game about how desperate they need him to score. Comes up with 2, and the second win of the year for the Tigers. So StFX will drop to 9-8. Tigers will move to 2-15. But for Chris Donnelly's youthful team, this is just a huge character win.
Absolutely. This is exactly what Coach Donnelly wanted to get out of his team. If anything, they proved to themselves that they're able to do this. They beat one of the better teams in the country and one of the better teams in the AUS, so there's no doubt in my mind that this is going to be a huge boost for their confidence. They just got to play the 3 periods. They got to be responsible on the ice, and I can't say it enough. They did that tonight, and that's what you got to do. You got to show up every game or you're going to lose, and the Tigers were able to bring that type of game to the ice tonight, and it worked.
The Tigers get a win, 4-3. Played well enough to win on Wednesday night, but came up a goal short to St. Mary's. Tonight, they finish it off. And they came back from 3-1 to do it. At one point, it looked like StFX was going to cruise. They were scoring highlight goals at the end of the first period, feeling very good about themselves. And the Tigers came back to win it.
Well, the X-Men, the Tigers didn't do anything wrong in the first period. They got outplayed by the X-Men. The X-Men played excellent, skilled hockey. They were hitting, but they weren't hitting as much as the Tigers were. The X-Men were playing their own game, which was skill, which was passing, which was, deking, was, tape-to-tape action. The Tigers were playing a more aggressive game. They were hitting. They were, winning the battles here and there. Not as many as they needed to because they were down 3-1. But eventually, they had to change their plan. They kept hitting. They kept skating. But what they did was they were more responsible defensively. And any coach will tell you, you play defense and the offense will take care of it. It's a cliche, but it's true because you get turnovers and then you capitalize on those turnovers. And that's exactly what the Tigers did.
So victory tonight for the Tigers. As mentioned, Pat Daly, 2 goals. He scores the only goal of the third period. The empty netter with about 13 seconds left. That was set up by McConnell. So give McConnell a goal and an assist tonight as well. And what can you say? These are 2 guys, McConnell and Daly, who the Tigers desperately needed to score and to create chances. And tonight they answered the bell.
Well, Wigington's another guy. Vandell played a good tonight. He was kind of quiet tonight, but he played well in the neutral zone. He was hitting people. Wigington was very, very, his presence was felt in the offensive zone. There's no doubt about that. But McConnell, Daly, especially Daly, he's been in and out of the lineup the last 2 or 3 years. But Daly can score. There's no doubt about it. He's got a good shot, and he's able to produce. And McConnell has to be one of the leaders. That's what's expected of him. And he did that tonight as well. So good for McConnell and Daly. But it was a team effort tonight. There's no doubt about it. You can't really single out anybody. And Nadeau as well. There's another guy. He made some excellent saves to keep them in the game.
And now StFX will head down the road, make the 1-hour drive down to the beautiful valley to play the Acadia Axemen. So now at StFX, they got to really refocus, or they could be heading back to Antigonish with a winless weekend.
Yeah, it's a tough conference, there's no doubt. And, of course, I think Acadia is winning their game right now, so they're probably going to come out with another 2 points this evening. So StFX does not want to go 0-2 and go to 500. There's no doubt about that. Putting you at that record, it's just going to make it tougher when you get down to the last 3 or 4 games. The whole point is to try and get those buys in the first round, heal up, and stay away from those short series. StFX wants to separate themselves and at least get home advantage. And I'll tell you right now, all those teams in the middle of the pack, we saw it tonight, one of the bottom team beating a middle of the pack team. So it's going to be hard fought, and the X-Men can't get in a hole with 2 losses, especially headed towards playoffs.
Steve Betts, my friend, thank you. It was good to be back in the booth with you, sir.
It's always nice.
Outstanding job as always.
It's always nice.
Steve Betts, the voice of the St. Mary's Huskies, along with Mike Barkhouse. You can catch Barkhouse and Steve with the Huskies webcasts of their men's hockey team right here on AUS TV. You've been watching a presentation of the Dalhousie Tigers on Tigers TV in conjunction with AUS TV and Bell Alliant Community One, the leader in local sports webcasting in Atlantic Canada. Thank you so much for all the tweets and emails. The final score from the forum, the Tigers victorious 4-3 over the X-Men. We'll see you next time right here on Tigers TV. 5-3. I said 4-3. I never.
Well, 4-1 it. You're right. 4-1 it. 5 just extra.
Who's messed up? My goodbye.
Speaking of goodbye.
Oh, that's